Brother Mike, we are back in the game.
Yeah,
How's it,
good.
how's it over there? Where are you right now? I keep forgetting because I have people in so many countries.
In Bogota, Colombia.
Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah.
Are you guys on complete lockdown as well?
Well, we are supposed to be, but looking at the news, it seems that people are still crowding around, considering their jobs as, what's it called, essential, and trying to travel to other cities as well. So it's a bit interesting. I guess
You
we need
know,
some police enforcement.
the thing about that is when people call their job essentials, I don't know if it's as much as they want to work, but not a lot of people have the professional or financial security that we do that allow us to work from home from a computer or take time off and not work at all if necessary. If you're still living, as we say in the States, hand to mouth,
Hmm.
that's a difficult,
Yeah.
that's a difficult decision.
That's true. I completely agree with that. But I think when it comes to everyone's safety, that's why there needs to be that government input to make sure that, hey, you're let's say, a construction worker. We understand you need to work, but this isn't essential. You're putting lives at risk. Stay at home. And if possible, they'll give some sort of maintenance for that.
I get it. I get it. It's just hard for a lot of folks. I'm not excusing the behavior. I think that may be a different conversation for a different time. But what I wanted to do was go at it this way. Some of the stuff I wanted to talk about was originally only for the people on Patreon, but it's a two-part situation. In the first part, I just want to give everybody, because it's something that people can do or use in their regular life. And for the people on Patreon who know about those, deeper conversations, the lessons that I've learned inside different things from business and personal that have brought me a great deal of success. But when I was talking to you about it, I said, yeah, do you remember that thing I told you about the contacts on your phone? And you said, no, what? You're remembering something that didn't happen. I said, no, sure I did. And you said, no. Must have been that other black guy from London. I was like, no, it wasn't him. So I wanted to go over it with you real quick. And it's also going to be homework for a lot of the people who are on my Patreon. This is something I hope they get done tonight. I was taught by one of my earlier mentors that my phone isn't just something that I use to talk to people or text. He says, everyone on your phone contacts, and some of us have thousands of contacts, needs to be filled in. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, most people fill in name, phone number. But if you look at something that we used when I was a young financial professional to keep track of every single one of our clients had to have a handwritten card. And the thing about these cards is it was more than just a card for putting their name and their phone number. It was one of those cards that you had to use to keep track of all the things that may become important when you talk to them later. And I'm just going to pull this up on the screen as a relevant example. Because quite frankly, I think the things on this card, every single one of these is an option on everyone's phone. Yeah. And what I want everyone to do is don't try to tackle it all at once. I tell people either take 15 minutes before bed or decide on 15 a day. You go through starting with the last letter in the alphabet or the first letter in the alphabet. No one really cares. And you fill out every bit of the information that you have. Name. Income, if you know. If they're a professional contact, you may well know. If they're a government official, you may well know. Age, birthday. Birthday is important. When you put that birthday into your phone, it also puts their birthday into your calendar, right? So that when their birthday comes up, you can send them a card. First name, last name, title. People love their titles, especially if they earned it. If someone's earned the title of doctor, they have to tell me to stop saying it because I know that's such a hard title to work for. If someone has earned the title of professor, Jeremy is a personal friend. I would refer to him as Professor Jeremy until he tells me not to, because titles are hard to earn.
Yeah.
Business address, business phone number, recent address, recent phone number. But the number one thing, and we used to call them prospects, but you can call them friends. We can go over labels anytime. How did you meet them? That's the critical. That's the single most important thing. If I say, "Hey, this is Bob," I met Bob because his cousin Lee. I met him in jiu-jitsu one night, and we were going over the intricacies of the half guard. And he said, "You know what? My cousin needs to talk to you." I may have met Bob because his cousin is someone who I've already done business with. His cousin may be the owner of a restaurant that I left my business card at, and I wrote on the back, "Hey, great food, love to talk to you about what you do." His cousin might be a girl that he tried to hook me up with and said, "Oh, blah, 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 you should talk to her." And I'm like, I'll always remember that. But that's important. The reason these things are important, and stop the show, everybody who doesn't know, hold on. The reason I say the birthday is the most important thing for me, other than the prospect, the person's name, is everybody knows my favorite store, right? I don't know if you have them. Store. My favorite store in the entirety of the United States of America is the dollar store. Some people call them Dollar General. Some people call them all for $1. But in those stores, you can get minimum 6 for $1. Minimum 6 for $1, the small ones, or 2 for $1, the big ones, a birthday card. But why? Why is that important? Ask about me. When I have somebody's birthday in my calendar, a week before, I send them a card, says, "Happy birthday, let's chat next week." It doesn't matter who they are. If they're a client, that's great. The person who sold them his house wasn't going to send them a birthday card. The guy that sold him that car, the jerk that sold him some shitty cable package, that guy's not sending you a thank you card. But YusefWateef, the guy that you dealt with your mutual funds, your life insurance, your buddy from the gym, well, that makes a difference. That shows them. And they say, "You remember my birthday?" I say, "No, when I met you, I remember to put your birthday in my calendar because you're somebody I want to send a card to." I go even further and I beat them over the head with honesty. And I say, I do that for everybody because I want people to know it's at least one person out there that wants to give you a happy birthday if nobody else does. Are you with me? Does that seem like overkill to you?
Makes sense. I get it. Definitely. It's very important. We do a similar thing as well to our clients. We send over a happy birthday message.
Okay. When you say we, does that mean they get a card written by you, by
No.
Mike?
So it's not a physical card handwritten. That's definitely the next step and even better, but they at least get an email.
The email doesn't matter at all. They got 10,000 that week. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Your email, your text message that you cut and pasted off Google, none of that matters. But that card that might have only cost you 50 cents or a quarter that you wrote your name in and said, "Hey, happy birthday. I'm going to call you next week. I want to find out if we can do business together, if it's a professional client, or I want to talk to you about some stuff in the gym. I remember when we met." Nobody else is doing that. I have clients that have every card that I've ever sent to them, and no one else is hanging in their house when they've invited me over. And I said, "Well, don't other people send you cards?" They said, "Some people do, some people don't. But everybody else sends me a card with that corporate stamp in it. Everybody else sends me that company email." Don't be them. Be that guy. You can even do it from where you are. All you've got to do is buy them in Spanish. Doesn't matter. Write in the card. This card is in Spanish, but it means the same thing. That's how I got to step away from the financial game and semi-retire at 37 years old. Didn't retire rich, but I put myself in a situation with the clients that I had and the people who knew me personally, which are more important than clients, because those people became my clients, said, "We love doing business with you. We love having you in our circle of friends. I'd like to see you do that."
Sounds like the dream. I love that.
For the people who don't know, I want to show everybody my channel. He runs a channel called Expat Money Moves. Let's see. Now, despite him being a good friend, despite him being somebody I hang out with, I like to chat with, give my insights to, he doesn't showcase my channel the way I showcase his, but I lead by example.
I'm learning how to do the plug.
I lead by example. He did an interesting 10-minute story how I got scammed in Dubai. I hope everybody goes and checks that out.
Yeah, that was one time. You can't hold that one time against me.
Huh? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. And BK from the Rockies, look at you. You're getting support from people all over. BK from the Rockies, put it in the comments.
Perfect. I appreciate that, BK from the Rockies.
Here's where we are. Now, this is why let me go back to the original. I want to tell everybody where this starts to get different from what you may be expecting. When you put, let's say you put by name into your contact, you're going to put, name, business title, who he is, how we met. Underneath that, you write what our first interaction was. Hey, we met online talking about blah, blah, blah. Or if it's through another person, you put introduced to me by. That's the first person you should put. Introduced to me by. So now you remember who goes up that lineage. You'll find with a lot of the people that you're the best friends with and a lot of the people that become your best clients, you'll see a direct line going back up to other people that were awesome with you as well. Good people know good people and refer good people. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where it gets. This is what makes everything different. In your phone, you have something that we don't have there. Something that doesn't exist on those cards. I'm going to show you something. Generic. When you open your phone up and you save someone's information, do you ever get those generic phone contact lists?
No, a generic?
Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Every phone has, generally speaking, 4 contact groups that they start with. I'm going to show you. There we go.
Okay, I could see I have me frequently contacted in groups. Is that it?
You see that?
All contacts developers.
It doesn't matter what brand of phone you have. They all have the same thing. All contacts, family, friends, blah, blah, blah. This is why you're only going to do 15 contacts in one night. And this is why you're only going to do either that or 15 minutes. The reason you do this is because I want you to create new groups. The groups, bare minimum, that you have to create in your phone are going to consist of 4, and I'm going to map them out because this is important. And for the people who are on my Patreon, this is something we're going to need for tomorrow. I'm going to put it back on Patreon. I'm going to send it out to you guys. This is important. Okay. Number 1, I want you to make one group called Do Business. What is that group? People who you want to do business with in the future. Some of those people are going to fall under that heading. Another contact. Done business. What does that mean, Mike?
They're already a client or you've done some sort of business with them.
Now, for me, it'll be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. People I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with that I met through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it could be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It could be, I'll just say, recreation of your choice. I might have one that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I might have one that's called for people who lift weights. Is it possible to be a member of more than one group in a phone?
I'm not sure. You're going to have to tell me.
Oh, come on. I'm giving you low, soft pitches. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Hey, yes, it is.
Somebody that I've done business with who I met in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. And then after Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we start lifting weights together. And then later on, we become business friends and I've done business with you. You're one of my clients now. It's totally possible because in groups, you can check off more than one box per entry. That's why when you start doing this, when you start going through names and you start with the letter A or the letter Z and go up, I don't care, but you do 15 names a day, you put in categories. You put in categories. And then I also have A clients and B clients. Is it better to be an A client or a B client?
An A client.
Yeah, you're 2 for 3. You can pull this out. You're 2 for 3 on our questions today. You're 2 for 3. Now, here's something a lot of my clients already know. Some of them don't. And if you don't know, you should know right now where you are. A B-level client is someone who I've already done business with. I don't care whether it's $1, $10, or more. If you've ever done any business with me, if you've ever been a client of mine on any level for anything, you're a B-level client, and I love you. An A-level client is not determined by how much money you make. It is not determined by how much money you spend with me. It is not determined by the type of business you do with me. If you have given me even one referral to someone else who became a client, you're an A-level client. There's no more valuable person in the world than an A-level client. I have B-level clients that have done metric tons of cash business with me and got mad when they found out I had a dinner with my A-level clients that they weren't invited to. And one guy said, YusefWateef, I went through my records and I've been investing with you for your mutual fund group and your cash value life insurance for 3 years now. Came up to this number. That's quite a bit of money. And I understand because I'm a high net worth individual. Yet I found out from one of my subordinates under me that you had dinner with a bunch of your clients and I wasn't invited. Can you explain to me how that happened? And I looked at him, cool as a cucumber. I did one of those. I said, that's because your subordinate, who I met through someone else, introduced me to another client. So not only were they there, but somebody else you work with who didn't tell you they were there. They were there because they've introduced me to other quality clients. It's not about the money. He had nothing to say. He had nothing to say. He couldn't, his head exploded. So what was he doing next Monday? Sending me all kinds of, here, call my cousin Bob, call this other guy. He's the president of this company. One of them will do business with us. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Now you've leveled up.
You've leveled up. Didn't cost you a thing. But those are on the professional side and the gym side. And we're going to go into, tomorrow on Patreon, I'm going to go into each one of those groups, how to deal with those groups, how to use the time we have right now to use those groups to your advantage. Because, newsflash, by the way, I'm proud to tell you, the people watching this right now and the people who have joined my Patreon group, we're not normal people. I'm not out here trying to convert folks. You see a lot of videos with people saying, now is your time. Get off your lazy butt. Get off the couch. You can do something. If they aren't doing anything before they have the opportunity, they're not going to do it now.
That makes sense. I have a question.
Go for it. That's what you're here.
Why do you choose to use your phone as opposed to a CRM system?
Your phone. No. Stop. Explain what a CRM system for the people watching.
Okay. A CRM system is a client relationship manager, but I understand that your phone is one too, but just because, we go through phones, we may switch from Android to Apple, it may be hard to get things to change over. Would you say it's also ideal to have beneficial to have a dedicated CRM online system such as HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever you choose to use?
Well, I'll tell you why it's not going to work for me. My business was not based on having millions of clients. At maximum, I had a couple of hundred clients. I was able to manage that on my own. My clients met me face to face at least once every 6 months. I can't tell you that a CRM is wrong, but if you're going to do an automated machine, you still have to make those calls to make sure that everything's okay with them, and you still have to sign those cards. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Is it Is it feasible with a CRM? Yes. What I've seen with people who use customer relations management tools is that they get lazy. They start to believe that a machine can do the job for you. They start to believe that I don't necessarily have to talk to my clients and explain to them the difference between a B-level client and an A-level client. They start to believe that there is an easy way to get what I want out of being a professional. And newsflash, there's only one way, and that way is to be of extraordinary value to the people who you do business with. We're going to go over that tomorrow on the Patreon. But there is no, there is no, I haven't found a CRM systems management. Now, I do know people who have hired someone as an assistant, as a virtual assistant, to do it. That I know.
Yeah. So in regards to not actually sending out the personalized messages or anything like that, but I mean, just as a place to record information. So just like you had someone, or you know, people who have assistants with all of that, so do I. So when I use the CRM system, for example, now John has his own login. John can log in. He could do a follow-up call for me and or call a referral. Once he's calling a referral on my behalf, you could see the notes that, hey, I first met this gentleman at the gym 2 years ago, and that's how we first got in contact. And now this referral also goes to jiu-jitsu with this gentleman. So now John has all of the information that I have in regards to rapport building, if for whatever reason he needs to make a call or pick up on an email for me.
So let me be clear. John, your assistant, your theoretical assistant, would sometimes call the clients for you.
Yeah. So say, for example, John isn't theoretical, he's real. So let's say I'm in a meeting and I let him know that, all right, this meeting is finishing on time. Can you please confirm that James is going to be available at our next meeting? So he could make that call for me whilst I'm already in my meeting. Or say, for example, it's the chase up for referrals. So I've met David. David said he's got some referrals for me. He doesn't have the contact details with him there and then, that we need to have a follow-up call for that. If I'm unavailable for whatever reason and I don't want to miss that opportunity, John does also follow up. And as well as that, John does do some prospecting for me. So again, by looking at the CRM, he could see if I already know this person, or maybe if I just know someone in the company, to see what sort of leverage he has in that case.
I want to make this real. I don't have a John, okay? There's a woman who you may have spoken to. Her name is Letitia. Okay. Remember Letitia? She has a tiny house. But she has a profitable global operation as a virtual assistant. See that in the bottom corner? She's a virtual assistant, meaning she's one of those people that people talk to about making calls and things of that nature. Would I trust her to run a payroll for me? Absolutely. Would I trust her to pull up contacts and leads that I might need to speak to? Certainly. Perhaps to remind me when it's time to fill out a birthday card? Absolutely. I don't trust anyone enough to ever call one of my clients or prospective clients on my behalf. Ever, no. The men that I trained under, my mentors, the one thing they told me is you can outsource a lot of stuff, but you do hand-to-hand with your own clients consistently, because that's the one thing that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The high net worth guys from the low net worth guys, the guys that are going to make the money early and the guys that are going to go on an average career. My clients know what I look like. My clients hear my voice. They're not going to get passed off to somebody else, because here's what they think in their brain. Oh, I must not be giving him enough money. He passed me off to some lowly assistant. Oh, wait a minute. YusefWateef was there when I signed my contract and handed him a check, but now I'm getting contacted by Letitia. No. I will trust them to do all the back of the house work. My mentor had a hands-off policy with his own calendar. His assistant was in charge of every morning when he came in, she would hand him a list. Here are all your phone calls you got to return. Here's a stack of birthday cards you have to sign. And then by 10 o'clock, here's your 10 a.m. appointment. Here's your 11:30 appointment. Here's your 1 p.m. appointment. Here's your 5 p.m. appointment. After 5, here's when you meet some of the people that work under you from here, until his only control was what time I start work, 8 a.m., and what time you can't schedule anything for me after that because that's my family. I would trust an assistant that I trusted like Letitia to do all that, absolutely. I will never let anybody call my client. I don't care how much good faith it is. I don't care, because here's the problem. If he makes that phone call and it doesn't go well, he still eats. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
If you make that phone call and it doesn't go well, do you still eat?
No. It makes sense.
That's it.
So what would you do in regard to company policy then? So that's my company's policy. It's not myself that said, I'm going to do things differently and have John, but we've actually got a team. So a guy here in Colombia, lady here in Colombia that helps with all of that, and a team over in Chile as well. Sorry to ask you a ton of questions.
No. That's your job. That's what you're here for. Let me think. They look bigger in the store.
Stay hydrated.
Hold on. I'm still thinking.
So let me add to that end just to explain the reason why. So you know this yourself. You're more valuable face-to-face in front of the client as opposed to running around and doing the paperwork where possible. So say, for example, if you've got a calendar full of client-facing meetings, because they know you as Yusef, no one else can do it. No one else can go there, shake their hand, talk them through the contract and do the signature. And all of that really important contact has to be done by you. Whereas if it's a follow-up call for, can you please remember to send this document that was outstanding? Oh, here's a reminder, your next premium's due. That time isn't generating anything for the company that someone else couldn't do.
Aha, you just answered your own question. I'm glad I took that time to think, because my answer actually would have been short-sighted compared to what you just said. Let's open and unpack what you just told me. You said you understand why it's good to walk them through the first signature, to walk them through the check they're going to send me, to walk them through their bank account information, to walk them through the ins and outs of the benefits that doing business with me can give them. But it doesn't make you any money to call them later and say, don't forget your premium is due, and don't forget that this piece of paper is going to be mailed to you. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. So not that it's not going to make money, but just that someone else can do that and have the same result as opposed to the face-to-face part.
Okay. Let me explain to you why you're wrong, respectfully and with love. No one else can do what you can do. For you to believe that the guy who's going to call them and say, hey, that paperwork is due, or hey, don't forget this premium, or hey, check your mail for a goodie that we sent you, can do it as well as you did or with the same level of commitment you are with your clients is 100% wrong. But I can tell you why your company doesn't want you to do that. What your company's biggest fear is that London Mike becomes so revered by his clients and has looked at a man of such extraordinary value that he brings to the people around him that they start to look at London Mike as the guy they're doing business with and not the company. Whereas my mentor taught me from a very, very early stage in my business career, he says, why? You work for one of the largest and most profitable investment and insurance companies in the world. No one's doing business with us. They're doing business with a guy named Wateef. Don't ever forget that. He made me invest me into it. Listen, most guys are going to take the easiest way out. Guys like me doing the things I do and trying to get you to do these things, we're rare. It's not going to happen for most people. But I can tell you, if you choose to become that guy, the reward is, well, let me give you an intangible reward. One, they see that you're still there because their friends, those companies do the same thing you're telling them to do. Their friends have an investment agent who does exactly that. He stays there at the beginning and then he passes you off to somebody else. But I'm going to give you a very tangible result. I'm going to give you another very tangible reason why you should contact them often. First, my clients got to see me every 6 months in person. Now, of course, there's going to be a birthday card. Of course, I'm going to know the names and birthdays of all your kids. Whenever we chat, I'm going to go into my little record thing and I'm going to put, oh, we talked about his son's baseball game. He got hit in the head with a baseball again. And when I call him, I'm going to say, hey, is your kid functioning because he keeps getting hit in the head with a baseball or a cricket ball, depending on where you are. When I meet my clients, when I talk to my clients, it's kind of like watching the same movie over and over because they know how it's going to end. My clients will look at me, will go through everything. And with the guys who have been with me for years, I would look at them and I'd get this stupid smile on my face and they would start laughing because they know how I'm going to end. I would always, in the same way, I would say, who do you know? I need 5 quality people for you to introduce me to. I don't care if they're good people or bad people. I don't care if they're stupid people or smart people. I need you to introduce me to 5 quality people that you know so that I can introduce myself to them and ask them, can I be of the same benefit to them that I have been to you? They're not ready for that. No, nobody's ready. There's never going to be a wasted opportunity. Most of the time, they say, why? I don't have anybody. I gave everybody, you've talked to everybody in my company. You've talked to everybody in my brother's company. You talked to all my friends. You've talked to all my wife's friends. You talked to all my side girls' friends. There's nobody left. And I'm going to say, so you haven't hired anybody in the past couple of months? Well, yeah, they're new. So why shouldn't I talk to them now? Well, why? They got a lot on their plate. They just started. They don't need. And then I stop and I say, I'm sorry. Have I done something to embarrass you to anyone that you've introduced me to? No, what? That's not the issue. No, that's not. I apologize. Have I somehow not lived up to the ethical and fiduciary responsibility I have to you as a client? No, I never said that. So if I haven't done anything wrong, can you explain to me why you're trying to stop them from receiving the same benefits that I give you and thus look at you as an even better employer? Hold on, let me get you their phone numbers here. Call them. Am I making any sense at all?
Yep, 100% get you. Fully following.
You know what? Before we wrap this up, now this is important. This is real important. I told everybody, where's that page? Told everybody. Okay, you got to put these in. When we meet up tomorrow on the Patreon, I'm going to go through each one of these and why it's important, how you address each one of these people right now during this crisis. There's also a group that we got to put on here. We're going to just put this on the screen. We're going to leave that one there. We'll explain that one tomorrow on Patreon because I don't know if I can talk about that on YouTube, but that's another important category. So that's the bed warmer category, I like to call it. Okay. So let's do this. First thing I want to do is give everybody this to look at. Where'd it go? Come on. That's my Patreon. What I'm putting this on today, I want to share this for everybody on Patreon. It's going to be put on my Patreon page for everyone to use. Tomorrow, when we hit hard onto the deeper issues, it's going to be for my cutthroats and my arcane people. I appreciate everyone here. This is something that I want everybody to look at if they are not quite sure of what it is that I'm doing or why I'm doing it. These are for the people who are looking for that in-depth personal connection on this side. There's only 5 people I can do that for at a time because that's a lot of work for me. Here's where I put a lot of this is where I hide all the candy. This is where everything that has made me money, made me successful, let me do all those things. And the good thing about Patreon is I can discuss those in a way that YouTube wouldn't let me. I can speak truths on Patreon that get me flagged here. It's not obscene and it's not in any way wrong. It's just that I have to respect if I'm on a free platform like YouTube, if there's certain truths that they don't want spoken, I have to abide by their rules because it's their house. Give me another tough question before you leave.
Ooh, another question. You did so well at answering the rest that I think that I'm all up to speed on that.
BK from the Rockies just left us with people don't like sharing their personal resources in competitive environments. I can see if people don't share all their contacts in some settings. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They don't share all their contacts in some settings, but my issue is I want any setting that I'm involved in to be one where they feel comfortable because I've done the right thing for them. So having said that, I wish everybody a good afternoon. I'll see you all on Patreon tomorrow. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good evening.